Alright, so one of the other fun things about living up here is the different types of food that just naturally grows. So we got, it's called a wineberry, but it's basically like a wild raspberry. And we did some checking around, and everybody says that it's really good to eat. So I am gonna give it a try here in just a second, and we'll see what she tastes like. Just like a raspberry. Pretty twangy. Pretty twangy. I'm gonna try a slightly lighter shaded one.
I think those are the ones that are not as ripe.
Yeah, that one had a different taste to it. I'm gonna be very curious what you think it tastes like. Has the same consistency as a raspberry. It's not as twangy to me. So what do you think? What does it taste like?
Like a not very flavorful blackberry?
It still has the consistency of a raspberry though, doesn't it?
To me it tastes like blackberry.
A blackberry?
I don't taste raspberry at all.
Hmm.
Because we just ate the wrong plant.
We'll see if we die. So one of the advantages of living in the middle of nowhere is when it comes to guns, you can kind of do what you want to. So me and a buddy of mine, Sean, were having a conversation via Voxer. It's been a couple weeks back now. And we got to talking about home defense and what gun is best for home defense. And everybody's got their own opinion on that. But we kind of started talking about what would happen if you fired a shot in the house and, you know, would it go through the wall or wouldn't it go through the wall? And so I said, well, what the heck, let's run the experiment. That's kind of part of lean, is come up with the idea, give it a try. And so that's what I'm gonna do today. So I took a couple of old pieces of sheetrock that I had, some old 2x4s, just cut them real quick, put the sheetrock on each side, so it'd be just like what a wall in your house would look like. I got some insulation shoved down in there. The only thing that might not be representative is it's packed a little tighter than probably usual for insulation, but there is some insulation in there. And we'll get a couple different guns, put some shots through there, and we'll see what goes through and what doesn't go through. Okay, so the distance I chose is basically right up here to these, where the black gloves are sitting. It's roughly 7 or 8 paces away. And that's roughly the distance, at least in my house. That's almost like the furthest distance somebody would ever be away from me if they were in my house with a home invasion and I was having to have an altercation with a firearm. All right, so first up is just a Ruger 22 semi-automatic. Most people wouldn't consider that much of a home defense gun, but hey, let's see what it does. And I've just got no hollow points, just regular tips. So we'll see if it actually goes through the wall or if the wall stops it. All right, next up is the Ruger P95, and certainly a 9mm some people would think of as a self-defense weapon. So we will see if that goes through the wall. All right, so I wasn't aiming for any particular place, just trying to get a hole in there. And obviously we can see where the 22 went and where the 9mm went. And then let's see both of them, 22, 9mm, didn't have any trouble coming through. All right, so the next round is just gonna come from an AR-15, nothing fancy. And then the round, just a regular round, no special round or anything like that. And we'll see if it goes through. All right, so there is the round for the AR. Obviously went through the front side. And it had no difficulty coming out the back side. All right, so I'll shoot one more time. This time I'm a lot further away. I'm like the full length of the house away. I personally don't think it's gonna matter, but I'll shoot one more time and we'll see if that makes a difference. There is the second hole that I had, and it obviously went through the front. Let's see, and it obviously came through the back. So it doesn't even matter how far away I get, that round is still coming through sheetrock and insulation, no worries. All right, so next up, we'll go with the shotgun. This is the Remington 870 Express, and I'm just gonna shoot, I think I got a high brass 7.5 in here. Normally that's probably not what you would pick, since it doesn't have a whole lot of takedown power, but we'll see what it does. I do have an extra full choke on here because I turkey hunt with it, but we'll just see what this does to a wall. Okay, so I aimed low so there would be no confusion with the other holes, and obviously I don't even need to go around to the other side because it went all the way through the other side, and then it blew all sorts of stuff through there. So you can bet that if you're at close range with the shotgun, it's going through the wall. Yeah, so one of the fun things about living out in the middle of nowhere is you can step out and have a little fun with a gun. And no big surprises to me. I expected all those rounds to go through the wall, but I know that's a lot of discussion that folks have, and it's something kind of fun to do just to see what would happen if you put them through. And if you have somebody in between you and a wall and you have a loved one on the other side of that wall, you better make sure you hit them. And then there would still be a question of, would that round go through the wall and hit the loved one on the other side of the wall? So an interesting test. Have you ever heard of a Poultice? Check out this improvement. This is something that Jenny and I have been experimenting with, and we've had a lot of success, and it's kind of fun, and it makes life a little bit easier. All right, so I have a nasty splinter in my hand from when we were working on the spring house. And normally I just dig those things out, but this one, as you can see, is already getting red and pretty angry, and it's very sore. So I'm going to show you a Poultice improvement, something that we've been experimenting with is poultices. And I'm going to use an onion poultice. Onion is a drawer, and if I leave it on the splinter, it should draw out the splinter, or if that's not splinter and it's just a bunch of dirt, it should draw out the dirt. All right, so I just took the Band-Aid, took a regular old onion that you'd get at the grocery store, cut a little piece off, put on the white part, the bandage, the actual bandage part of the Band-Aid, put it right on the splinter, and then I got 2 Band-Aids in position just to make sure I hold it in place, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so it's been, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. There's the Band-Aid, there's the onion, there's the hand, no more splinter, no more mud or dirt, whatever's down in there irritating it. It's all come out, it's gone. And that's the beauty of a poultice. If you've never used one, you should think about it. There's all sorts of poultices out there for different things. You just have to do a little research. The majority of people in the United States, they get their water from city water. Then the next batch of people have wells, and then a very, very, very small population of people have a spring box or a spring, and their water comes from a spring. So this next part of the video is just a little taste of what it's like to have a spring and to have to make a repair. So we recently discovered a leak at the spring box and had to go down there and start clearing around it so we could get to work. All right, so this is our spring box. Basically below this is, from what I understand, an old septic tank. Sitting right on top of the spring, the water flows into the septic box. We got a well pump lower down in there, and a hose or a pipe that comes out the side of the spring box, runs up the hill to the house. So the leak is just right beside the well pump, so we've got to pull the pipe out and replace that part of the pipe. All right, so I got to loosen these 2 C-clamps, and then I can get the well pump off. All right, those guys are loose. All right, I might have to cut it, and then we might have to try to get it loose because it is sealed around it. So there's a nice big crawdad, and then there's another one right there. There's a bunch of them down there. Which is kind of, some people might get creeped out. There's two more little ones down there toward the bottom. Ooh, look at that other big one. Ooh, they're having a fight. Matter of fact, I think that big one might have just killed the little one. But I had an environmentalist tell me that this is actually a really good sign of clean water, is when you have critters like this living all in or around your water. Pretty fun to watch, the crawdads. Alright, I'm gonna clean up the inside a little. Do a little deburr job. Sometimes I use a file to do this too. Where's the rubber hammer? Do not want to over tighten it. He just appeared. What's up, Frogger? Alright, so we got it together. Now we just gotta get the clamps on. Nice camouflage frog right there. So we got it all back together. Plus, came down and dug it all out. Get it some good flow. The flow is coming because it's leaking around the side of the spring box, which is not good, but I'm not sure what I do to fix that. I still got plenty of flow inside, but that's what this is coming from, is it's leaking around the side of the spring box. That will have to be another project for another day.